picked up wins. Means it's going to be a lot tighter up there at the top of the table. However, G2 have some own concerns they need to look at internally because we saw and we heard from the players draft was not great last week. They had a misread on the meta, but Vedius, that didn't feel like that was the only problem.
Yeah, to me, it looked like that for G2, they seem to be completely diverting away from the style that they found so much success with during the regular season. They may very well have misread the meta, but when you look at how they drafted last week, it was very much a scaling comp. They went away from their early aggression in the laners that have built them so many leads in Perks and Wonder. They've often relied on how Jankos uses that pressure to invade on the enemy jungle, and they just went, you know what, nah, we're going to scale, going to wait for late game team fights, and they got punished really heavily twice last week as a result.
And it did not feel perfect even in the execution a lot of times. I mean, they did manage to get a win, but it felt so sloppy up against Giants. Now, Freeze, if we're talking about individual members stepping up, individual people who can make the change happen for G2, who do you have your eye on?
My eyes have to be on Jankos. You know, I know Perks is going to perform well. He's shown in the past that he just performs exceptionally well under the pressure, and he delivers all the time. But then Jankos, you know, I want to see more from him. There's a rumor floating around that he's not playing very well under the pressure when it comes to playoffs, almost like choking. So he has the strength to show it right now. He's with the G2, with the new team, not playing with H2K anymore. And will he deliver or will he not? You know, we'll see.
And I want to find out because we look at the opposite side. We look at their opponents, H2K. They're looking to contest for a playoff spot as well. They've been big turnaround in the past 3 weeks for these guys. And with Schalke securing a win earlier today, H2K, similar to G2, need to answer back, need to continue to find these wins. But guys, like last week, they beat Misfits. They went from clear bottom of the table. Nobody thought they were going anywhere to beating Misfits. It's such a big turnaround. It's so huge that I feel like this is a possible win for H2K.
And for me, this was just about the draft pick from Misfits. It was really greedy draft when they first picked Ezreal, and they just got punished for it. They got picked 2 tanks versus the Ezreal, and then, you know, I feel like the Ezreal is just the new EU Kalista. You have to play it perfectly, you have to play well around it, and if you don't, you will get punished and lose the late game for it.
And it was just so fun to watch H2K really just take advantage of that and play so beautifully. But that would not have been possible if there was not a new sheriff in town. This guy utilizes damage so perfectly. His positioning in fights is exquisite. His execution and the way in which he contributes to his team is fantastic. And just look at his average. That was his average damage per minute last week. 1,200. This guy is a beast.
And for me, I always knew Sheriff was a really good AD carry because he's from Czech Republic as well. And Czech Republic is known for AD carries, obviously.
Draven one tricks mostly, but it's refreshing to see a change of pace.
I just like with Sheriff, I was looking at every game he played and I was just seeing the potential there, but he didn't have the setup he needed. And with Selfie coming on board and Shuk coming on board, he finally got the setup and he's starting to shine more and more. We saw insane Quadra kill on Xayah when he just like delivered and win the game.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. We started calling him a clutch player, and I think the title is going to stick at this point. Well, H2K, they're looking to pull off another big upset. We'll find out if Sheriff can get the setup he needs going up against G2. Let's send it over to our casters for picks and bans.
Thank you very much, Dracos, and hello everyone. I'm Aaron Medic Chamberlain, joined by Martin Deficio Lunga.
Nice to meet you, AA Ron. I think we should make it stick.
Okay, can we
He's
go
a little
with
bit more badass than
Double A
Aaron.
is cool. Double A Ron. That's cool.
Double A Ron, AA Ron. I think
AA Ron is not cool in any way.
I think it's really cool.
Let's go ahead and pull up the lineups, beginning on the blue side. It is G2 Esports, and someone you always have to highlight when you talk about G2 is Perks, and alongside him, Jankos.
Yeah, I really want to see one game of like early game pick for Jankos, maybe something where Perks can win lane and then play together and just like destroy that mid lane.
Jerks.
It was my dream when I saw this lineup being put together, but of course the meta has kind of been more some tank junglers in here, you know, and you don't have to win lane as a mid laner, so we haven't really seen it yet. I'm hoping.
Jankos has hinted towards it though, so you never know.
He did tease it in the podcast.
He did, on the Euphoria podcast. On the other side of the rift, it's H2K. Sitting down at the bottom of the table at the moment, but they want to climb, you can sense it. And someone who's going to help them do that is Sheriff.
The AD carry, or the analyst test did some interesting intro of Sheriff. Of course, his ability to shoot people in the late game as an AD carry. I think he's pretty good. He's young. He's a rookie. And H2K, sadly for them, because Schalke 1 are now alone in the bottom of the standings. That being said, I think this is the hardest game they got left. If they can beat G2 today, which is possible, Man, I'm still looking at that playoff for H2K.
I mean, I agree with you, but then I remember they've got Splice left as well, and Splice are looking very strong at the moment in this show.
All right, equally tough.
Equally tough for them.
Win this game for H2K, and I believe in the playoff dream for this team.
Well, we'll hold you to that. Camille banned alongside the Scion by G2, H2K getting rid of the Rise. Now, we saw on patch 8.4, a lot of changes in the meta, a lot more Banner of Command, earlier Barons. Is anything going to change week to week here, Deficio?
Well, we have seen some teams draft a little bit more late game so far. We've seen less get first Baron with Banner and take the entire enemy base. I feel like the Dematerializer has come in to kind of counter some of that. G2 and H2K banning 4 of the traditional very strong OPs, and then Tristana, which is a European special. We are so far the only region who are that scared of it that we sometimes feel like we have to ban it in the first phase. I don't think it's necessary, but each to their own. H2K might feel like Yanin can't play anything else, which is a common strategy for pro teams when you're like, why did you ban that 180 carry when there are like 10 other? They're like, aha, listen. We knew that the enemy AD carry could only play this champion. Everything else, nope, complete garbage on it.
Okay, I agree that it's
maybe
slightly
it's true.
sarcastic.
Maybe it's true.
Yanin is 5-1 on Tristana, and then 4-4 on everything else.
See? That explains the Tristana ban. They're clearly saying that's the only champion he can really carry on. Let's remove it.
Varus is his second most pick, though, and he's 3-2
Oh,
on
they give
that.
Zyra Khan, though. They give Zyra Khan to Sheriff. Last time he played Zyra, he had that sick outplay at the base. I guess, okay, they also give Tom Kench.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Kench is also a pick. You were very excited, and then Tom Kench kind of...
I was hoping for
Witches.
Zyra Khan for Sheriff and Promiscu. I think they actually both play well, but I can understand that maybe there's a support counter pick against the Rakan they don't want to face with the Varus and don't want to get towered off bot lane 5 million times. So I can kind of see it, but I normally in Europe, when I see Zyra Khan available, I want to see it locked in because most teams can't play against it properly.
So what else of those big picks that are available here? It's going to be Ogmore. Okay, well, I mean, that's early. That is a surprising pick. I was going to say something like a Sejuani maybe, which is much more H2K style, but the Cogmore for Sheriff, they're putting a lot of eggs in that basket.
And they're saying G2 Esports either will draft late game and we will outscale them, or G2 Esports can't finish games. Fnatic found success drafting full late game against G2. G2 couldn't finish it. I think this is really risky because G2 can get a strong early game comp, absolutely destroy H2K, and no offense to H2K, but there's a slight difference between how Fnatic can play a late game team fight with Caps and Reckless compared to what I think H2K can do on their side. And also they're not running the same kind of wave clear from the AD carry as we saw from Fnatic with the Sivir.
So probably looking for wave clear from their mid laner.
They have to get wave clear there.
Selfie's hovering over the Azir for the moment. The Olaf and Braum were locked for G2. It's not going to be a Zoe because we're not on 8.5. She is still pretty dead on this patch, but a Cassiopeia is a possibility.
It is. We haven't seen a mid lane choice yet, obviously from Perks, so you can just grab a more standard safe blind pick in Azir that we see so often. So we got a great early game setup with Varus plus the Olaf. You can definitely gank, around bottom side, even against the Tahm Kench. I think there's a lot of options for where Jankos will end up going in this game. And of course, when you draft this way for H2K, it's very much scaling. G2 Esports can't finish games, make fun of them, laugh at them, and then just go to late game and let Sheriff carry with Selfie.
I mean, as much as G2 Esports can't finish game, you've got Banner of Command, you've got Baron. If you have a 10,000 gold lead at the 25-minute mark, even G2 should be able to finish that one off.
And this combo of carries from H2K is not the same as Victor Sivir when it just comes to instant killing every single wave possible. So it's not as easy to just stall the game forever, but I still think like getting Rage Blade on Sheriff is a potential spike for him to play around, but they're gonna get matched by the Varus Rage Blade on the other side. So I'm still giving it over to G2 when it comes to, of course, the early mid-game pressure, especially also because they have Olaf, who is one of my favorite early game junglers.
And it's a more aggressive early game jungler, which is what we wanted to see from Jankos.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see what Perks wants to play mid lane then. I like the Corki ban, which has been one of the go-to answers for him. Ryze, of course, banned as many games as possible.
On the other side, H2K no longer have the Sejuani or the Kha'Zix to go to. That means all of Shook's champions are banned out, apart from the Jarvan, which he could pick.
Yeah, Jarvan against Varus is fine.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad choice. Skarner is also available in this draft. The Jax is also available. Like, the jungle pool is pretty big right now. So I think Shook is fine leaving his jungle pool for second. And this is something that's surprising to me. That's the fact that Skarner can go all the way down. And not even like G2 can counter pick specifically with like a Tom Kench or anything. Like, Braum is already locked in. So this Skarner should be able to have a pretty free game. Ooh, NA special.
Gets the Syndra here for Perks. Does mean you can knock away the Skarner. A little bit of counterplay there.
Then he flashes on you and you're like, ah.
That's true.
But this is what we talk about, Medic. This is my dream. They can play around mid lane with Perks. He can snowball on Syndra. He can try and destroy the enemy mid lane, and Jankos can join him and win the 2v2 against Skarner plus Azir. This is what I thought the Jankos Perks combo would be all about. Now, we get to watch it on the LCS stage. We're hyped for now.
I'm always hyped. I'm always hyped when I get to cast
That's
with you.
true.
I'm always
Every
hyped when we
player
see
you have seen is the greatest
an
player
Olaf,
ever.
A Syndra into an Azir and a Skarner in that mid lane. But Deficio, there's one problem for me here. You said G2 can play around the bottom lane, you know, shut down this bottom lane. And then you said they can play around the mid game. So which lane are they actually going to focus?
Why not both?
How? How do you focus both?
You start mid.
That makes sense.
Take your advantage. Go elsewhere.
Yeah.
What about bot? Hey,
It's definitely true.
the option is there.
It's definitely true.
You don't really go top lane for Maokai and be like,
Top lane's an island.
So Wonder
ignore that.
has to accept that he's not the alpha on G2 Esports. It is Perks. So if he wants to try and play something where he can snowball his lane with his jungler, it is, of course, the Syndra mid for him specifically. G2 Esports have a lot of tools to get it, especially in the mid game. But man, if we go full late game here, Tom Kench just counters the Syndra ulti. Sheriff is on a late game hyper scaling carry. Selfie on the same with the Azir. Like, H2K's late game is far superior. G2 Esports, show us you can close a game.
Show us you can play a strong early game as well, because last week they weren't able to do that. They've consistently been good at it, but this is one of the times it's very important for them to get those early and mid-game leads. They are still fighting for first spot. We cannot forget that. They're only one win behind Fnatic. If they win this game, they lock their spot in the playoffs, and H2K are nipping at the heels at the bottom of the pack. They need these wins.
Let's see what happens level 1 whenever there's a Braum in the game. People can look. Funny enough, I think G2, I'm watching on my screen while you guys are watching here, invaded in, just checked after a little banana brush, said, okay, is anything happening here? Are we spotted or not? And then they noticed they got spotted and just back right out, straight back towards the standard lanes. Jankos on Olaf. Early game aggression. We just watched Maxlaw in the last game. 5 early kills. Dove the bot lane turret multiple times.
Didn't work out too well for Misfits, though.
I mean, hey, if you don't want to go early Baron and that kind of stuff, then yeah, you don't want to win. But that's just what it is. Jankos, of course, our guest on the podcast, he said that this G2 setup here is probably the healthiest team environment he's had in a while. And the reason that stood out to me is this is a player who's been on a lot of different lineups in the past, you know, H2K, Rocket, where there's always been some sort of problem that seemed to keep the team from just really improving and reach their maximum potential. Some personalities clashing could be one of the problems. I want to see if this G2 lineup can be the one where I feel like Jankos, especially in playoffs, can finally show us how good of a player he can actually be.
Well, there's a lot of opportunity for him. G2 have improved across the course of the split after a disappointing start. I want to have a quick look across some of the runes here, because we've got triple minion dematerializer on the side of G2. Only a single one sitting on H2K. And if G2 do get that mid-game lead, we'll have to see if Promise Q keeps those minion dematerializer stacks.
Yeah, they make sure to have one in each lane. Again, further try and get more push for G2 Esports. You want to be aggressive early game. You look at this H2K draft and you're like, listen, there's so many scaling things on this side. We can punish that hard. You got to get down early turrets if you want to play around early Baron. And that's going to be the big thing for G2. And I think the dematerializers in that case can make a lot of sense to actually get that push going for them once we get a few levels under their belt and it actually becomes active, which is just in a matter of a few seconds. Meanwhile, on the other side, the one guy we are looking at in terms of champions to make plays is the Skarner. Strong duelist, get level 6 and the first gank typically at least results in a flash. Most of the time a kill. Like, Shook can be the one who tries to at least get some gold for H2K.
Has gone for the Predator as well, so will be a very speedy Skarner when he scuttles his way through. Spotted out on that zombie ward and pinged out by G2. Just trying to get some vision on the Scuttle Crab here. It looks like Jankos is doing a relatively long first clear. Has gone through his entire jungle. Now sitting down at the Krugs. Oh, down towards the bottom side of the map, relatively healthy. Could look for something, but I think he's just going to back away and start to build up those items.
Also want to get them boots so you can get that Predator proc. Otherwise, it's not going to do a lot for you. So very good for Olaf to do full clear to actually go back and get multiple fairly cheap items. And again, as I highlighted, the boots, important to actually get the Predator as an active. Meanwhile, pushing bot lane, we talked about it. Mid lane, Syndra doesn't necessarily just like instant shove in Azir, but her ability in these skirmishes, 1v1, 2v2, she's still so strong at level 6. With the burst, with the fact she brings the stun. Jankos, he's ganking already. It's top lane though.
Uses that Predator, trying to catch onto Smitty. Slow comes out, but Shook's here as well. The Rupture isn't going to connect, but H2K are going to try and turn this one around. Flash away from Smitty. The stun from Shook. It's just a summoner burnt from the H2K top lane.
I think Jankos right there, he's still waiting for his camps to respawn. He was like, okay, I just need to find some gank because I have boots. There's nothing for me to farm. And top lane was just the open one because Smitty J had, of course, you know, he was kind of caught a little bit in the middle of the lane. So first gank from Jankos, considered a success by forcing a flash.
And it's good early game as well from G2. Jankos getting some ganks down, allowing for G2 to get a bit more pressure in this early game. As I said earlier, their week 7 wasn't quite as strong as their previous weeks. They're actually behind in gold at 15, behind in towers. Their kills over deaths wasn't that great either. But we want to see them return to these early performances to Fisher.
Yeah, and it all started in the draft, which is what we saw here, or what we see here from G2 is more focus on the early game. Because last week, it was all late game. Like, there were Victor comps in there. They were like, we're fine falling behind 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes into the game, as long as we just keep scaling. And that's why we see these poor numbers, and it didn't look that great for them. They had a really rough week. So I want to see early game G2. I want to see them play around the special perks because he's the best performing member on the team. And we're seeing it with this draft. So it's an adaptation after a week where they almost got perfect game by Splice and almost lost to Giants. Should have lost to Giants.
So we've talked a lot about how G2 want to play the early and mid game, how they want to get their advantages. If you're H2K, is the entire game just getting vision and making sure you don't get caught out until you can get to that late game scaling?
I mean, that's always one of the things. You want to try and predict where is G2 going to attack us right now. Is it a bot lane tower dive? Is it, camping mid with Jankos? Then you need to have some early wards down to actually see this Olaf come running towards you so you can react as Selfie and dash all the way back to your turret and stay alive. And that's kind of the game plan for these scaling comps, is just predict what enemy is attacking you and make sure they don't actually kill you, so you just keep stalling and stalling and stalling, and you keep getting gold from minions towards yourself. But I think Shook, once he's level 6, could surprise G2 and actually pull off a gank. Skarner pulls back a Maokai into a feast from a Cho'Gath. There is some kill pressure if you have enough time.
Especially since Wonder only has a Ruby Crystal and a Dark Seal at the moment. Like, he's not very tanky at all. No 6 yet for Shook. He's going to try and get towards it. Jankos does have a slight level advantage, and he's coming up towards the top lane as well. So, although we predicted mid and bot lane action, it seems to be more focused up towards top.
But I think this is because, again, he didn't know, he didn't have anything to do before, and then he forced the flash. So now he should just return gang the no flash lane.
Teleport's going to come in here, though. They're looking for the fight down towards this top side. Smitty J so low. Forest flashes in, can't quite get there in time, and now he's caught between Jankos and Wonder. Shook on his way, has the impale, but the root coming out from Wonder is doing a lot of work. Promiscu
Perks on his way.
Skin, Perks is coming up, and there's no escape for the Tarm. That catfish gets destroyed.
And this is why we want to see Jankos on early game junglers getting the first spot here. It all starts with him saying, okay, I don't know what to do on the map because there's nothing for me to farm. I'm going to go top and force a flash. Then he knows I can just return to top lane because we have a point-on-click CC from a Maokai. I have Predator. That's a Cho'Gath, that's a free kill. So, of course, he returns topside and just secures a first blood. And Perks, good roam from him to secure a second kill for G2 Esports. Great start. Doing exactly what they should do with this Olaf pick here. Nice return gank. And that is a free kill on Smitty J. Promiscu tries with the flash and TP to save his top laner, but no! Just too late. And now he's missing bot lane. And he used TP, which is now going to be on cooldown. everything just went wrong for H2K.
It's a comedy of errors for them. Losing 2 kills, Perks getting 1, sets him up for success in that mid lane as well. It's about 1,000 gold lead as we come towards the 8-minute mark, and that Ginsu's is on its way from Hjarnan down towards this bottom lane.
And a big wave on his way as well. Promethu, he's returned. The fallen hero from the top lane. Sadly, for him, Hjarnan's going to get this big wave. Get slightly ahead in CS. It doesn't matter too much for Sheriff specifically. Obviously, whoever goes back in Ragebait versus Ragebait and get it first, if the other guy doesn't get it on his back, that is a big spike in your favor. But we've just seen Jankos focus topside early and not look bot lane at all.
Shook does still have its flash, does still have the Predator, has the Impale, can perhaps look down towards this bottom lane. No real vision there for G2 apart from in that tri-bush. Selfie's going to be gifted over a blue buff for extra laning presence.
At this point, top lane is lost. G2 will just keep ganking it because Smitty can't get away.
You just have to feel sorry for a guy. After a certain point, Smitty J dies once again, and Wonder is the one to secure.
I just like the adaptation from G2. They're like, alright, yeah, Maokai top. Wait, that's a gank setup. Force early summoner. Okay, chain gank it. Literally lane gank it now. You just run at him and you just kill him. Smitty J can't do anything. His flash is ready now for the next gank. But his turret is taking a ton of damage. TP is up in just a few seconds. No one else is defending it. They're looking mid lane from H2K's side. Shook's flash ulti is one of the ways, as we mentioned, that they could try and get some gold in this early game. But right now, they're not able to spot Jankos, and it's hurting them.
So good from G2 though. First Tower Blood 9 minutes in, a 2,000 gold lead. Jankos can get deep vision down. It's the early aggressive Jankos that we wanted to see again, Deficio. Not where we expected it, but great play from him to realize where the weakness is on the map.
Yeah, just adapting to what's happening in the game and punishing H2K. He gets a Raptor Camp. Shook will respond with the least amount of Drake, but I think if you are G2, you rather get 3 early kills plus a turret than a dumb Drake on the bottom side. Perks, meanwhile, mid. Yanks was around, but Selfie's okay.
He can slide his way away. Still has the cleanse as well. This is the highest goal difference that G2 have had at the 10-minute mark. We said they needed to play around the early game. They needed to snowball it into a mid-game win. Well, they're doing exactly that now.
And we just see how Selfie's also playing mid. Like, he knows, use my ability to get away from, you know, Jankos if he shows up. So that does make it a little bit safer, like the early boots from him as well with the MR on his side. And meanwhile, bot lane, they're just sitting on the turret with the Tom Kench. So H2K have decided to play defensive in 2 lanes, and the one lane that was obviously pushing because it's a Cho'Gath thing got punished.
Well, the one hope for H2K is Sheriff in this bottom lane as well. Across the last couple of weeks, he's really stepped up. High damage a minute, beating out his enemy AD carry as well. He's looking like a central point for H2K if they want to win.
It's all late game, and this game, it's not about Sheriff carrying the team towards the late game. It's just it's about him just getting enough farm, getting 3 items and being like, okay, guys, stall, 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 and then I can try to carry late. I think it's going to rely more on G2 messing up the execution than on H2K showing us perfect defense in these games, because typically in League of Legends, if the enemy team is in fact stronger than you, defending almost becomes impossible.
It's just so unfair. This is the reason the dinosaurs went extinct. Smitty J's trying to turn it around, but once again, G2 just collapse on him. Should not be able to get away from this one, and Wonder secures the kill.
Oh man, and nothing else is happening on the map right now other than a bit of damage in mid lane from Selfie. At least that's where H2K can try and get something. 3 members on the way to defend, and Smitty J at least is getting farm.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was going to say. He's ahead in farm. 1 CS ahead of his lane opponent. He's basically won the lane, Deficio.
But what do you do as a dinosaur if a giant tree dressed up as a cat shows up?
I think I would be thrown off by that eventuality.
Guys,
Wonder's coming towards mid lane again. The Emperor's going to have to slide his way away, but he's knocked up. Wonder's going to chase. Twisted advance, but Promise to ease him up. Here's the TP as well. H2K trying to turn this one back around, but the Rip Tower's going to do a lot of work to that tower. They will be able to take it down before it gets the turret.
Pretty smart, though, that G2 do not all in for the turret here. After they realize everyone is showing up from H2K and TP from Smitty J, they just step away. They can kill this tower in a minute or 2. That's perfectly fine. They're ahead of schedule right now. They got 4 kills. They got a 3k goal lead. Yeah, they're not in a rush anymore. They're doing just fine. They will eventually get this mid lane turret. Can then swap it down to the bottom side. Rage Blade should be here on next back from Hjarnan. Will be delayed by Sheriff because he went boots. Couldn't actually get anything useful on his back here, and while H2K have warded up the bottom side, they've communicated between mid and bot lane. We're doing fine, guys. Keep stalling. It's a great game. They've not pressed tap. They've also muted their top laner, so they have no clue what's actually happening on the other side.
It's one of those solo queue games where the guy's just, I'm getting camped. It's like, fine, it's fine. We're even in the other lanes.
Yeah, the other lanes are doing great.
Maybe we can win in the other lanes.
And SmittyJ is like jungler, 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 jungler.
Where is the shook effect I heard about?
Well, he's farming.
Yeah, 20 CS up.
There you go. So, what do you want? Do you want 20 CS advantage for your jungler? Or do you
Or 4
want...
kills.
4 kills.
And a tower.
I think you take the CS on
I
the
agree.
jungler.
I agree. Shook's going to try and steal away a red buff here. And there's the bottom side of the map that actually does belong to H2K.
Yes, but now there's a fit Maokai on his way to stop them from controlling bottom side.
No blast cone for them to get out. Wadid's going to face tank Shook. There's the chain of corruption from the side. Promiscu looking to spit out his jungler. The cleanse gets the flash, gets the spit. The chase though. 3 members of G2 are going to jump across that wall. It's on Sheriff. Selfie puts up a wall of soldiers to try and divide the team, but G2 runs straight through it, and they're going to try and chase down Sheriff. Gets to the blast cone, uses the flash instead, and will escape for the time being. Jankos tastes a little bit of blood there, but cannot solidify the kill.
So Wonder using his advantage to instantly go bottom lane and join the team for a fight. Meanwhile, Perks and Jankos can secure the bot lane turret. All of H2K forced back, except for SmittyJ. Sad for him, doesn't have enough time to actually kill a turret. And I feel like the early game from G2 and the draft from G2,
I think it was pretty strong.
It's been working pretty well. I feel like H2K maybe have committed slightly too much to the late game. Now, I will say, of course, if we end up seeing H2K stall the game and win, brilliant strategy. Knew it all along that G2 couldn't finish, but oh man, it is so heavily G2's favor. We're like 14 and a half minutes in, and it's a 5k goal lead. All 3 turrets are dead.
And it's plays like this that make it. As you say, you have to translate that advantage from the top lane into the rest of the map.
First time on the bottom side, H2K get greedy. I'm not sure if they actually realized that Wonder could just TP down and SmittyJ could not. Because when they invade in, they open up for that play to happen. Good reaction from G2. H2K gambled for a red buff that wouldn't really do anything for them, so not worth it to take the risk. They get punished, and now they all share some of the blame for falling behind.
I have to remember how much this game means for G2 and for H2K as well. G2, the opportunity to lock if they win this game and tie up on wins with Fnatic, who play next. H2K, on the other hand, going 5-10 is never a good sign. They would have to win the rest of their games to be able to have any sort of chance. They've got Splice up, they've got Schalke, who look better today, and they've got Rocket left.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule if you're H2K, mainly because of G2 and Splice, and if they lose both those games, they're effectively done. Even though there might be some crazy tiebreaker scenario somewhere that is not too realistic. Wonder is mid again because he's fed and he wants to kill people.
Shook there as well with Dids on the chase. Promiscu with the Norman down once again, but he's just stunned up. The Emperor's Divide comes out, but that's not dividing anything at all. G2 get 2 quick kills under the tower, and they're just going to push forward.
So all 3 outer turrets gone. Killing a Zia turret, start hitting the enemy mid-tier 2 at 16 minutes into the game. 6,000 gold lead. Thank you very much. We are watching an early game comp completely destroy a late game comp.
And this really isn't something we've seen that commonly in the LCS this split. There's been a lot of late game, there's been a lot of stall, maybe that Giants Rocket game with the Banner of Command.
The first one.
But we've yet to see even a Banner of Command in this game. G2 are just dismantling H2K.
I love the Wonder, after he got ahead, just keeps leaving his lane because he knows he's not going to kill the Cho'Gath again 1v1. Just go mid. Kill whatever member of H2K standing in that mid lane trying to defend. Keep getting more kills. Another mid lane turret fell down. Drake for G2, only the first one they can actually pick up, so the Drakes are not going to be the important ones for this team. Instead, we're looking at another potential tower dive at a tier 2 turret, because they can push multiple lanes at once. We could look at a super early Baron as well.
Before the game, we highlighted Jankos and Perks, but it's been more of the Jankos and Wonder show. But
Perks has tried to keep up.
Yeah, Perks has done a good job of roaming and helping out when he can, but it's been all about how Jankos and Wonder synergize, and Wonder has commonly topped MVP lists across the course of the split for top laners. The best top laner we have statistically in the league. he's definitely staking his claim for that MVP spot.
Yeah, and after this week, we are voting, of course,
Yep.
for MVP and All-Pro team. I believe the announcement came out today.
It did.
From seeing it also pop up on Reddit, and a lot of good discussions about who are, on the All-Pro teams, who are the MVP ones. I think most people would put Wonder in that All-Pro top laner, at least have him as the top 2.
Flash Impale, they're looking for a kill. The Emperor's Divide will not Perks back, but he flashes to the side, and Wadid is here for the sustain for Perks. Shook's going to get chased in by Jankos. Pops the ultimate as well, but he's just going to Ragnarok his way away from the fight.
In the end, Perks stayed alive. That was the first flash ult from Shook.
It's been so long, so late in the
But,
game.
I mean, none of his lanes were really winnable or gankable. He was like, yeah, you know what, guys, I'm here, I'm trying to help you, but we can't really do anything because we don't know where Jankos is, and he can just kill us. So that was again kind of the issue with the H2K draft of how they couldn't fight in any lane, and G2 could fight in every lane, it felt like, with their setup, and especially with the all-up jungle, who I think some European teams, they're still sleeping on all-up jungle. Like, it is such a power pick. Great items for him. Predator is amazing. Fantastic dueling power. I think it's... Is it my favorite jungle pick right now? I'm probably going to put it up there at least like S tier, on par with what we see at least with Sejuani and Skarner at the moment.
Only getting buffed on 8.5 as well.
I mean, why not?
Make him even stronger. Let's have a quick look at minion dematerializers. There were 5 sacks remaining on Promiscu, so he can clear out that first Baron push if G2 were to take it. Interestingly, Perks has gone for a Morello Nomicon here, Deficio, after getting that Luden's Echo. Not an item we too commonly see these days.
I mean, he did obviously want the extra magic penetration before he fully completed the item. You don't have to actually fully upgrade it, but in terms of getting the healing reduction, look on the side of H2K, there's some on the Cho'Gath, but I don't feel like he necessarily needs to shut down too much healing. I think it also might just be a case of him just having a ton of extra gold.
Yeah, it's just like, oh guys, I can't even hold all of this gold.
I already have the Oblivion Orb, like...
Might as well complete it.
Let me just fully complete it because I am, again, pretty far ahead.
We have seen that cost people in the past. I remember a certain Tamik player completing a mana move
that
and
was
their team
definitely
then
not
losing.
the reason they lost, but G2 needs just to continue to go for turrets.
That's what they're doing.
Like, the bot lane, no one's going to stop them. They can swap it to top side. They can stop playing around Baron as well after this. They might even kill Smitty J.
He's going to flash away. Ragnarok does come out from Jankos, but doesn't want to tank up the tower for too much longer.
Poor Smitty J. Whenever that flash is ready and he feels safe for a moment, it's gone.
Oh, no. 6,500 gold lead for G2 coming out to the 20-minute mark.
Now, you talked about dematerialized on Promiscu. It is probably one of the last hopes for H2K when it comes to stalling. One of the answers is get 2 banners. Buff up either in 2 different lanes. You can only use it on one, or just buff up 2 minions right next to each other and then protect at least one of them from this dematerializer, and then you will get that inhib down.
The other issue for H2K is they can't really stand outside the base, which is something Misfits did in the past. Sort of held that cannon minion outside of the turret range to keep it away from taking the towers.
A lot of engage on the side of G2. Multiple skill shots in terms of Varus, Syndra, and Braum to start a fight. And then, of course, there's a Maokai who says, aha, giant cats covering the entire lane, and W. So it's pretty impossible for G2 to not get a fight.
Yes.
If they want one.
Let's have a look down the itemization as we come just past that 20-minute mark. CS is actually relatively even, which isn't always the case. Slight CS leads for H2K, but Adaptive Helm banner complete on Wonder. We talked about that banner of command strength. Lot of magic resist across the board here for G2, including a Wit's End on Hjarnan. Smitty J is going to get chased down here in the top lane. That is a very fast Olaf, and there's really nowhere for Smitty J to go at this point. The banner of command minion just comes in to help out. G2 get their 9th kill of the game.
It's fine. Smitty J is making sure to highlight in all chat that he's winning on CS. So he's effectively winning lane.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Jankos, he doesn't care. He just wants to keep killing this stupid Cho'Gath. And right now they get bot lane turret. They got a banner minion already. Someone has to go back down to defend. It is currently Selfie, who can't really kill the banner command minion very easily. Because, yeah, as you guys can see, it's kind of like, I deal magic damage with my soldiers.
It's interesting that the spear deals magic damage. You'd think a spear would deal physical damage?
Yeah, but it's a magic spear from a magic soldier.
Yeah, but it's still a physical spear.
Is it?
Like, I could tell you a spear was magic and stab you with it, and it would probably still do physical damage to you.
In the real world?
Yes.
Are
You're saying League isn't in the real world? I thought this was a documentary, Deficio.
It's actually being played right outside.
G2 setting up Baron vision control here. Basically no vision for H2K at the moment.
Oh, they got the sneaky ward outside Baron.
Ah, yes,
the classic ward.
The ward that Vedius hates.
Guys, you always gotta sweep outside to spot it. It is a little bit far away, so if G2 do approach the Baron from the other side, they probably sneak in without the ward
Or if they
spotting
blast
them.
cone in as well.
Blast cone over also will get them in there unnoticed. Rest of H2K, so they're like, no Tracker's Knife, we're lacking wards here, we're only relying on this Trinket ward from Shook on the top side. That of course goes on cooldown, so it's not too effective for him to actually keep the vision. Double blue Trinket to try and see if they can spot when the Baron is being started. But again, if you're G2, you're not in a hurry to kill Baron just yet. You can keep just putting pressure, kill all the jungle camps. If you want to start Baron, great, do it. If they don't contest it, you finish it. If they do, you turn and fight them, and you're like 10,000 gold ahead, so you just win the fight.
Well, it's only 7,000 gold.
Fine.
Show,
What's the difference? 7
like
and
10,000 gold. G2's just trying to set up a Baron bait, but they're not really going to be able to get too much out of it yet. Looks like they're going to blast cone in with that. No?
Not yet.
Farsight automation did come down, so that's one of them used.
So remember, the entire H2K draft was built around the fact that they believe G2 are not able to finish this game in time.
Well, we're 25 minutes in. G2 look like they can finish, but they haven't finished yet.
That's the thing.
Because we're still talking.
Look like they can finish,
Yep,
but it's not over.
it's true.
And now H2K used a little timing of G2 going back to base to restock control wards to sneak their way in, try and kill the Rift Scholar. That's a big bonus because that buys you a lot of extra time of vision. Wait, they actually, no, what? They're spotting it.
They're doing the Baron?
That's really
H2K,
risky.
this is the call,
You
because
didn't
here
have
comes
to
the
do
TP
that.
behind them as well. And they're not going to be able to solidify it. Selfie, you can't stop him with soldiers. Selfie gets chased down. G2 get a kill.
But-
And H2K pay for their call.
Why did you think they could just rush it down? Kill the Rift Scuttler, buy a minute or two for yourself, and just back away.
SmittyJ was rooted up here. Still does not have the flash. He's going to get chased down by G2. Hyanan coming in from the backside. The Beast does nothing. G2 get 2 kills. And H2K do just have to back away from this fight.
So while H2K said, G2, you cannot finish the game, G2 said, H2K, you cannot defend properly, so we can draft early against you, and we will win that way. H2K just showed us, right here, a very greedy call to try and sneak that Baron, instead of grabbing the Rift Scuttler and just stepping away and trying to stall. Their AD carry was actually farming pretty well. 2 fully completed items on Sheriff, still sitting on 1,000 gold. Like, he was doing his job. And we talked about that. Sheriff can't carry them to the late game, so he's relying on the team not falling too far behind while he's scaling. This is how you fall further behind for no reason. That play is never going to
No,
work.
it's never going to work. And H2K, maybe a bit of desperation. This is an interesting interaction. You cannot stop Olaf running through the wall with those soldiers. They just part like the Red Sea in front of him. And you can see SmittyJ hasn't had the best of games, has been heavily camped.
I'm pretty sure he was saying, wait, why did we just do that?
Oh, they're going to try and chase on Hyanan, but Flash, Chain of Corruption away. Or did on his way up as well, but Sheriff is just around the corner. Jankos pushing in, Promiscue's going to eat him up. The Predator chase is on, and the Ragnarok coming up, but here's the TP. H2K trying to turn this one back around. Cannot slow down the Olaf enough, and that's a TP burnt for H2K. Selfie tried to catch out, Perks has to cleanse. Perks doesn't have the ultimate yet, but it's on its way. Promiscue eats up his mid laner, tries to get the Emperor to safety, the bodyguard.
Oh, the cats!
Catfish, here come the cats, and it catches out 2. Promiscue with the cleanse. Shook suppresses Perks, they can't quite take him down. Eventually they get the shutdown, and look at Sheriff. He's still alive on the backline. Sheriff is doing absolute work. He's gunning down some outlaws. There's 2. They're looking for more. H2K have turned this one around.
Again? Really? I can't believe it. That's the exact same thing that happened when they played against Fnatic, and they did this thing when they drafted full late game and fell super far behind. And for some reason, if you are a top 2 team in Europe against H2K, you have to chase instead of just playing for Baron.
Here we go. Jankos. Flash.
Oh, there's no
Smite.
jungler. There's no
Flash.
jungler.
Smite. SmittyJ doesn't have Beast. Jankos and Woodit know they can do this. H2K have to pull off it. Jankos is off towards the side. Right, just Glory propped.
Oh,
2000
they actually
HP,
played that.
Flash. Smite. He can sense it. He can taste it.
You have to wait for the feast.
He's seen everyone else get it. They have to
Oh,
wait.
nice.
And they get
Nice.
the Baron. Great play from Selfie.
Oh, I don't think Perks expected that one. His ult was ready and everything, but he didn't use it.
This is the story of Smitty, though. He's like, oh, I'm in the pits. Does have the feast back up.
Oh, now he's strong.
Promiscu can eat him. There we go. He's out.
Smitty J knew all along that he won that top lane.
Calculated.
Man, okay, top 2 team in Europe against H2K. This will happen for some reason. Let's watch it again. I hate you for laughing right now, Medic. I know you're muted, but he's laughing a lot because of this play. So, they jump in with G2. They're calling, let's go for the kills here. Perks is on his way. Wonder is walking from mid as well. So, right now, just kind of chasing the force. TP in the back way. Everything's great. Just stop here. You'll find G2. You can just go back to play around Baron. Perks flashes out. And now the call is, let's fight them. So, I like the cats from Wonder. But Perks lost his flash. We have to remember that. And Shook's flash is ready. So he's the one making the call. Oh, look at Perks in the front. Let's go for him. They kill him instantly. Yana Valley gets in range until now, and Sheriff is untouched. Great call from H2K. We're getting towards the late game, and I can't believe that we just watched the exact same kind of play as Fnatic pulled off early in the split.
G2 cannot finish games, Deficio. They did it against Fnatic. Now we see a 6,000 gold lead crumble to only 4,000. H2K know how to play against these top teams.
I mean, they do, I guess.
To win.
Hey, I guess we said it, that H2K were like, they can't finish.
Yeah.
Veteran, knows best.
Let's bring it back though, Deficio, because we are 30 minutes in. There's a 3,000 gold lead for G2. Baron's still on H2K, but they do not have a banner of command anywhere. So we're not going to see any Thomas the Tonk engines in this game.
Is that the name now? What happened to Bob?
So there's Bob, there's the Cannon Minion Boy, or the bannered Cannon Boy. There's Thomas the Tank, Thomas the Tonk, and there's probably a few other ones circulating around there. I saw a really good one on Twitter that I can't remember now, and I was going to claim it for my own. So it's probably Karma that I can't remember it.
Ah, yeah, there we go. H2K, right now, they don't care about banners because they're not looking to push anything. They're just looking to keep scaling into the late game. They're okay, just getting the Baron, stopping G2 from snowballing. So far, everything has been successful if you just look at the last 2 minutes.
What did G2 do in this situation, though? Because you've lost that lead that you so carefully cultivated for yourself. We are entering the early late game, 30 minutes in, and they haven't been able to finish the game, which is what we thought they needed to do to win this game.
Now, Syndra is still very strong. 5 kills on Perk's side. Gold-wise, 1,000. Okay, so he's not looking to get 4 items instantly and get ahead of Selfie in that way, but he's level 16. Rank 3 ultis there. Does deal a lot more damage to teamfights than a lot of people expect from a Syndra. It's not just about ulting one target, because Time Kench will deny that. So it's not like G2 can't win the following fight. It's just getting harder and harder and harder. And that's always the thing. When you play against these comps that just outscale you, is the last few fights of the game just feels almost impossible for you to win unless you have a sick outplay. Perks lands a great stun maybe on someone, and Promiscu is not nearby to devour them, but that's not too consistent for G2. I like the cleanse on Promiscu in case he gets stunned up. Let's see what G2 can do now. Feels like they have to win the next fight.
Wonder's going to engage onto the Dinosaur. Smitty J in that front line eats up Hyun, and Sheriff still alive. We have to watch that AD carry through these fights. He is the integral part of H2K's team composition. You can see Smitty J still not in the best of positions. Good power play there from H2K though with that Baron.
And we have to remember, if Jankos and Wonder decides to like dive onto Sheriff, there's going to be Flash on his side, plus Promiscu is next to him to devour him. So that strategy probably won't work for G2. The objective then comes to kill the first guy in the front line. And again, there Promiscu can try and play spoiler by just standing at least close enough to Smitty J, who's going to tank up all the damage. So it is tough for G2 because they can't really just dive Sheriff due to Time Kench. And they do struggle a bit to kill the front line, also a bit due to the Time Kench, depending on, of course, if Devour is ready or not. I think, though, with a Varus late game on-hit build, which is fine against tanks, if they get enough time, they can kill Smitty J and just kind of make sure that Wonder doesn't die in their front line. But it gets harder and harder, and Sheriff, he's going to melt a tank.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the whole goal of why they picked this bottom lane on H2K side.
Percent max HP damage definitely helps. Have to remember how important this game is for G2 and for H2K.
Yeah.
G2, if they win, would secure that locked spot in playoffs. Should still be able to make it. H2K, though, really need this win to keep their playoff hopes alive. They tie with Schalke, with Giants, with Unicorns of Love at 6 and 9. And that's only one win away, really, from getting into playoffs.
Oh,
And It's going to move up once again. Out towards the top side, the Beast onto Perks. Can't quite take him down, but the Predator's chasing him. Down towards the bottom side, the Impale onward did. H2K get one kill, and they're looking for a little bit more. It's happening, baby. It's happening.
Oh, H2K late game comp. They're going for more kills.
Now, Perks is up towards the top side of this. Can he
Yeah,
get
but
on?
he's so low.
Selfie just chases him.
Yeah, he's dead.
Almost kills Selfie, though.
Yeah, but almost.
A for effort.
H2K get 2 more kills for themselves. It's insane. If we go 10 minutes back in this game, it was like, oh, I mean, G2 full control, stomping them, game over.
I was thinking it was going to be a perfect game 10 minutes ago. Like they hadn't then died, no towers had gone down. There was only the Mountain Drake, which I know we count technically, but I always forget about and then say perfect game, and
Hey.
my color caster goes, oh, but they got a Mountain Drake.
You make up your own rules.
Yeah.
I'm
They're not the correct rules, but I make them up.
That's just how it is.
H2K pushing down mid though here, Deficio. They've closed that gold gap. It's only 1,000. It's going to be less than that as this tower falls. And G2 just don't seem to have a way to answer H2K.
It's so hard for them to win the fights. We talked about it before. They don't win the race when it comes to killing the front line first because they're against Sheriff and Selfie, 2 late game carries plus a Tam Kench. Then they can't really dive the enemy backline because again there is a Tam Kench right next to them. We also have to remember that Smitty J, if you actually try and run past him, silence, knock up, feast, we just saw it against Perks, pretty much kills anyone.
Really interesting itemization here from Perks. He's gone for Spellbinder as his 4th item. Now, a lot of people might not know what Spellbinder does. It's a new item that was introduced on 8.4. It stacks up to 100 stacks when you use spells, when your enemies use spells, and when your allies use spells. Each stack is worth 1 AP or 0.3% movement speed, and you can activate it at any time. So you could either get 100 AP and 30% movement speed, or
almost nothing.
Or nothing. Or you could activate it at 50 stacks or 25 stacks for less bonuses. But it is a one-off, I want to burst some fools item.
Yes, because also it gives 100 AP just flat from the item itself, which of course is extremely high. I also want to see if the movement speed is going to be important for him, because if it's going to be a lot around dancing around fights, buy a lot of time while they're trying to burden down a tank, that could be valuable for him if he activates it at the proper time.
Only compounds with the Cloud Drake they have as well. People say Cloud Drakes aren't worth it. They definitely are.
Let's see in the next fight here for G2 Esports. H2K, they've taken control of this game. They're starting a Baron.
Only red sides have got Barons thus far today, Deficio, so we'll have to see if that
They're
holds
gonna feast it
true.
now.
Looking for the feast, Perks off towards the side. There's the feast. H2K get it, but the fight is going to continue through. Yankos so low, just about gets away today, says Sheriff as he secures the kill with a red buff proc. And now Perks needs to run away. He's already used the Spellbinder. He's going to get chased down. H2K can just look to close this one out now. They don't need this chase. They don't need to get these fights. There is an Elder Drake on the cards, though.
But Medic, right now, if you're H2K, you can do whatever you want. This is your game. This is your map. You have the better comp. You got to late game. You just picked up a second Baron for yourself. You killed the enemy jungler. Elder Drake being started, Perks around, Spellbinder on 60 stacks, but on cooldown. Not ready for him at the moment. Oh, Wonder didn't even get in there. Not sure he wanted to.
Doesn't get into the pit, and I think this Elder Drake is going to be given up. Perks looking for the steal across the wall. That was closer than expected, but H2K do secure it, and with it, a 3,000 gold lead at the 36-minute mark of this game. Who needs Banner of Command? Not H2K.
I just have to better teamfight comp and win every teamfight in the late game, I guess.
Well, yeah, but you also have to get to the late game, which was impressive from them.
Listen,
They sacrificed Smitty J.
veteran, he's done this twice now. So we can no longer call it a cheesy strategy or not viable. If it's worked twice against Fnatic and G2 Esports in Europe, surely then,
I just
It
wish
is a
I
good
knew how
strategy.
it works.
it works with the fact that they're saying we know the enemy team, even if they get one Baron, we actually think we can stall past that Baron with dematerializers, if they're still on Promise Queue. And then we get to 3 items, and they won't have finished the game by then. And then we trust in our carries, Selfie and Sheriff, to win the fights. Now, falling that far behind typically shouldn't allow you to win the game. But then if the enemy team ends up overchasing and you make a good call from Shook, flash hook onto Perks. Hey man, it works. Credit to H2K.
Capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. That's what G2 did against Giants last week. That's what H2K are doing right back to G2 today. Inhibitor tower falls low, it falls down as well. H2K breaking the base of the G2 as we get towards the 38-minute mark of this game. That inhibitor's going to fall, and G2 very much on the back foot. This is where we need someone like Perks to step up. This is where they need their carries to really have an influence in this game, because at the moment, the carry for H2K, Sheriff, is doing exactly what he needs to in team fights.
Get to back away after killing mid inhib. G2 can only dream of killing an inhib against H2K. I will also highlight, Medic, that with our caster prediction...
Oh, I knew this was coming!
They get tweeted out, of course, before the show. You guys can check it out on LoL Esports on the Twitter. 2 people predicted H2K to win this game. Amazing did, and I forgot the name of the other one.
Yeah, so did I. He's a freelancer. It doesn't really matter that much anymore.
It was me! And H2K are currently winning.
See, I didn't bring this up when H2K were getting demolished earlier on, so let's have a little bit of decorum here, Deficio, because H2K are looking for their second inhibitor. The engage comes out, Chain of Corruption, but it's only onto Smitty J, and they just can't shred through that tank in the front line quickly enough. Hail of Arrows doesn't pierce the back of a dinosaur at all, tough as leather. And they're just waiting for the next minion wave.
Yeah, leather. That was the one I would have picked as well. H2K get the second inhib in just a moment. Smitty J, oh, they're going for Perks.
Sheriff got caught on the back line, but Perks has been caught up with Diddy Eaton. There, the kills just raining through for H2K. They are not giving an inch to G2. Ends up being a 1-for-2.
Perks did not go for QSS in this game, so Shook can flash onto him, and then Smitty J with the silence can follow, and they will kill that mid laner. They're looking to finish the game even pre-40 minutes.
This turnaround is absolutely disgusting. Sheriff's tanking up the tower. He doesn't care. He wants Wonder. Won't be able to secure the kill in the end, but the Nexus towers are going to fall. And H2K look to close this one out. Sheriff's still alive in the backline. There's the second Nexus tower. And against all odds, H2K take down G2 and keep their playoff hopes alive.
This is a team that was sitting at the bottom of the standings. Only won 1 game, lost 8 games. And of course, everyone thought they were gone, they were out. But they just keep finding their way back. They're tying with multiple teams down the bottom now. One of these teams will get the number 6 spot, will get that playoff spot. At this point, after H2K just took down G2, I think among those teams, they might be one of the favorites to clinch this playoff spot based on the remaining schedule. Because they get to decide as well against teams like Rocket.
Just remember, they've got Splice, Schalke, and Rocket left. Like, those are beatable opponents, especially after they've taken down G2 today.
I mean, Splice is then the toughest one there. Schalke and Rocket, of course, if you want to make playoffs, you got to be able to beat those teams. So that's next for H2K. Just to recap this game, what was so interesting, again, and we said it a few times, like, H2K entered this draft literally just saying, G2 Esports, you can't snowball the game, or you can't close the game. And G2 said, haha, H2K, you can't defend. So they met with complete opposite comps against each other. And in the end, H2K saying that G2 will mess up, they won't be able to finish the game in time, it was correct.
It's the biggest comeback we've seen at the 20-minute mark from any team this split. Incredible performance from H2K. As always, we want to know who you think is player of the game. Head on over to @LOLEsports on Twitter.
It's veteran.
Where you can choose between Sheriff, Selfie, and Smitty J. I mean, we bigged up Sheriff before the game started.
Dude, I would love if Smitty J got it.
Smitty J deserves it, man.
0-5.
In his head, he's like FF15, FF15, FF15.
No, he was winning on CS. He was winning on CS.
He continues to have a positive mental attitude. He continues to get CS, to get items. And in the late game, he really did a lot of work in those fights.
European Cho'Gath, I love it. Like, I feel like every single fight, that Cho'Gath is just fantastic.
Smitty J's just following in Soaz's footsteps, you know?
There you go. You're supposed to go down 0-5 in lane in order to be able to be big in team fights.
The only way it works.
Also, Shook decided to save his flash ult for later in the game, but then when he did show them, they were pretty spot on. On Perks twice, big fights, one in favor of H2K. The first one that actually bounced them back in the game.
And we'll find out more about how Shook made those plays in an interview that's coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. He's setting up over there with Pyrotechnics. I was allowed to tease that, but we're not quite ready to go over there yet.
Well, what if they swap players now?
That's true.
That would be a shame.
Then I would have messed up.
Yeah, that's
I've messed up many times in my career. I could take one more, I think, thus far. Deficio. Fnatic versus Roccat is next, right? If Roccat lose that, guess how many teams are tied for 6th place?
5.
5-way tie, baby. I love it in EU. To hear more about H2K's win, let's send it over to Pyra and their jungler.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I'm joined by Shook, and I don't think I've seen a comeback like that in a long time. We've had some crazy results here in the LCS this split. Shook, how did you guys pull that off?
I think our late game combo was just better than theirs. Syndra didn't have a Quicksilver Sash against Skarner, so I got to catch her out a couple of times in team fights. We got tempo back in the game from that, like we delayed them winning the game. I still think they could have won the game cleanly. They were so far ahead. They made so many mistakes that we could come back in the game.
Yeah, now to rewind it a little bit earlier on, it seemed like Jankos kind of had your number and was really focused on diving a lot in the top side. How did you keep your team calm to like really just start turning those fights around?
I mean, we knew like we had to sacrifice early because their comp, like they straight up win everywhere early game. Like we just have to make sacrifice in the early game and just win later on. Unfortunately, they got to snowball really hard. They played it really well, and yeah, we just had to deal with it and stay calm and hope for the best.
All right, well, you certainly managed to do that. Now, tell me what was going through your mind when you actually did manage to take that fight up top, and we saw Smitty J starting to pop off, and you were just taking out G2 member after G2 member.
I mean, we were all winning. Yeah, we just stall. Don't give them Nashor. Just wait till late game comes, and we'll win. So basically, we're all just making sure they don't get Nashor. We give up towers, we give up kills, it's whatever. As long as they don't have Nashor, like we still win the game. So.
Well, coolio. Now, it is a tough climb still for you guys to make playoffs, but since you've been on the team and Selfie as well, things have been definitely looking up. How confident do you feel that you can knock out the next couple of wins and make it all the way into the playoffs?
I mean, we're not too happy about this game, of course. Like, we could have played a lot better early, but I still think we have a good shot against the other teams we're playing. Like, we're not playing all the top teams right now. We're playing more like the lower bottom of the table teams, so I can see us going to playoffs.
Well, anything is still possible, and thank you for joining me, Shook. Congratulations on the win. All right, now we are going to go ahead and take a quick break, but don't you go anywhere. When we return, it is Fnatic versus Roccat in 3.5. Don't go anywhere.
The camera is looking at you, Perks. It's time for you to shine.
No.
Shine like a star you are.
Gets the flash, gets the spin, the chase though. 3 members of G2 are going to jump across that wall. It's on Sheriff. Selfie puts up a wall of soldiers to try and divide the team. There's really nowhere for Smitty J to go at this point. The Banner of Command minion just comes in to help out. G2 get their 9th kill of the game.
It's fine.
They get the shutdown and look at Sheriff. He's still alive on the backline. Sheriff is doing absolute work. He's gunning down some outlaws. There's 2. They're looking for more. H2K have turned this one around.
Really? I can't believe it.
Down towards the top side, the Beast onto Parks. Can't quite take him down, but the Predator's chasing it. Down towards the bottom side, the Imperial.